So in this video, we want to take a look at a model, a specific model for Stable Diffusion. We can use this one with Automatic 1111, and what we can do is to download it from this website. I want to take a look at how we can use this to generate images. We can also use it for inspiration. We can use it for information. Let's start off by looking at the actual model. It's called Dreamshaper. It's a very popular model, and it's one that is capable of producing very fantasy images, but also highly photorealistic images. So I find it very useful for its versatility. We can come here and download it. There are several other versions that you might want to take a look at, and each of them is different. And we can come down here, all the way here, and you can see the author's notes. They make another model and another one. And they also have some notes here that you could follow for how to use the either this current one, which is version 7, and they also have notes for the other versions. So for instance, with version 6, they note that it is also better at generating directly at 1024. So it's possible to generate images at 1024 pixels with this one, which means it's been trained on larger images than some of the other models out there. This is a checkpoint trained model. Some models are what are known as merged, so you can actually merge models inside of Stable Diffusion, but this one has been trained. It's an original one. Very interesting one to use. And what we would do is download it, install it inside the models folder inside of Automatic 1111. The author is down here. You could follow him. You could also check out some of his other models if you wanted to. Currently, there's only one file, but if we were to go to some of the other models, let's say 6.3, one baked VAE. With this one, there are two files. There's a pruned file and a full model. The full model will give you access to richer data than the pruned one. But for this one, there's only the pruned one. So you download that one, install it, and then once you're ready to use it, how would you use it? Well, one thing we could do is to come down here, and we could see there's what's known as a gallery, and the gallery just shows how other users have used the model. Some of these users are very good, and they've given us some information about how they got to where they are with their designs. So for instance, this one by Potato Vision. This is something I really like about this model. It has the ability to produce very simple, down-to-earth images. And we can just scroll through them and just see what kind of images we can create, or what type of images this user here has created. The same user, Potato Vision, has created some other images here. And I'm actually going to click on this, and we'll see a little bit more of what they've done. And some of these are spectacular. Wow, that's truly amazing. You can see the prompt here. Now, one thing you might have noticed as I was scrolling through is that the prompts are all the same. So they've obviously kind of worked on the prompts to eliminate the actual correct details that they used in the prompt. They don't want to share their actual prompts, so they just share some vague information. But some of the other users do share their prompts, and you can actually come here and copy the prompts and try out some of the other models. So some of the other images. This is an interesting one, which I really like the composition there. If we click here, we can see what the prompts look like. And we can see here that the prompt here is an in-painting prompt, which means that it's not the text to image prompt that we normally see. And that would mean if we were to try to implement it inside of Stable Diffusion, it probably wouldn't work. But some of the other ones, we could copy the prompts. This is one here from the author himself, from Lycon. And if we come here, we can see that there's no information, so we can't actually access the information here. For this one here, we've got a whole bunch of text to image information, and we can copy the entire stuff here, the entire image data. So you can use this for inspiration. I really like this one as well. And I've taken a look at some of the ones here, and they're pretty fascinating. And we'll try to see if we can replicate some of these inside of Automatic 1111. Now let's go back to the top and take a look at this image here from the author himself. Now with this one, if we click on the image, you can see we've got the generation data. Let's copy that and let's go to Stable Diffusion. Now Stable Diffusion respects the, inside of Windows, it respects the Control-C, Control-V. There's those keyboard shortcuts which are pretty much universal inside of Windows. We can use them. So Control-V, we can paste that, and we can distribute the data. Now we're ready to generate, but before we do that, we've got high res. I normally turn off high res because sometimes it just creates images that are too large and it takes too long. And sometimes as well, the authors are using information which I can show you. If I choose latent as the upscaler, we'll delete this prompt, start again, distribute, and you can see it's chosen another upscaler, which is latent nearest exact. So it puts a ton of information, including some override settings, puts all of that in there. And sometimes the upscalers, it chooses one that you haven't got installed. So I prefer to switch that off, and we can hit generate and then see what it produces. And there you can see we've produced an image that looks quite similar to the one that we saw here. So that's the value of those prompts and the image data. Let's close that. It's not exactly the same. We didn't scale it up. And there's also some bits and pieces here which I haven't managed to see here. So you can almost never get it looking exactly like it does on the website, but you can get a clear idea of what the prompts are doing, and you can edit the prompts yourself and see what the prompts produce. Some of the prompts like this have got angled brackets, and these angled brackets basically are their call-ups to other. They basically call up other models that you would use with the main model. In this case, it's more details, and as it happens, I happen to have that one installed, so it actually did produce a much more detailed image because it was able to call up this particular model. We could go and increase the size of it, but probably this is going to produce too large an image for the graphics card that I'm using here. If you've got some overrides here, you can take those out if you want to. Those are specific features that can change how the image actually looks. And normally, if you have access to, let's see, no, we've lost it. If you get rid of it like that, sometimes you can lose it, sometimes you can actually get it back, but in this case it looks like we've lost it. So that's how you would use the image data to reproduce the image here. This one was easy to use, but we weren't able to upscale it because that would have taken too much time. This is another image that I was looking at, and this was again in the gallery. It was way down below in the gallery. This one here, and again we've got the data here. Let's take a look at it because there's something else with this one that I want to show you. If we open up the image and look at the data, you can see that it has got what are called resources used. And this means that it's using a number of resources. If we click on the show more, you can see that one of the resources is in fact the Dreamshaper model, and that's the checkpoint model. But it also has these other models. These are textual inversions, and to be able to really kind of work with to get the quality that the author of this has got, you'd really want to install these. So these are what are known as negative embeds, and it's kind of like guesswork to know what type of models there are sometimes. But with the textual inversions here, you would open up the textual inversion, and this one is going to be the fast negative. And once that's opened, it's taking a bit of time. Let's see if I've already got it. No. Let's try this one. So we'll try bad dream, unrealistic dream. And there we are. So these are two models. One is called Bad Dream. The other one is Unrealistic Dream. You'd want to download these and you would put them in the embeddings folder. So inside of your Stable Diffusion, you'd want to go to the embeddings folder. You want to paste that particular file here. You can see we've got a whole bunch of Python files there. Now there are two of these here, and these are actually developed by the same author, by Lycon, and they're developed specifically for use with Dreamshaper. So you'd want to download these two and make sure you're using them regularly with this particular Dreamshaper model, but they probably will come in handy with other models as well. It's up to you whether you use them more regularly. Once we've installed them, I can show you what it will look like. We can go to this area here, which is show hide extra networks, and you can see that we've got a Bad Dream here. The other one is Unrealistic Dream, and if you want to, you can click on replace image and it will use whatever image you've got inside of the results. So here, let's get rid of this. It's just taken that image and it's using that now as the preview. So that's basically, go there and you'll see a whole bunch of different options. These are textual inversions. These are the negative embeds. And to use this one, you can see we've already got a couple of them there. You would put this one into the negative prompt. You'd put your cursor there. Maybe I'm just going to put a comma, click on Bad Dream. It gets rid of Bad Dream. Click on it again. It reasserts it. Let's try Unrealistic Dream. You can see it basically toggles on and off. So that's how you would use that one. It removes some horrible looking defects that you sometimes get with this particular model. Sometimes you might not know where to put the model. It's a question of guesswork. Most of the time you can figure out whether it's a positive or a negative, just using common sense. So let's go ahead and just copy this one for fun, and let's go and see what happens if we try to implement this one. So we'll get rid of this, paste, distribute, and let's get rid of this, and there's no high res, so let's just generate this one. And what you'll notice with this one, quite fascinatingly, is it's literally a poem. It's literally a poem that the author pasted into the positive prompt. And I think there's a girl from Canada called Emily Bett Rickards, and we can see what she looks like. I think this is the model has kind of understood who she is. So we could go and open up this guy here, maybe apply the unrealistic dream, then go ahead, hide these, and we could try to generate again. And you get a slightly different generation. It will clear up some of the defects inside of the image. And there we are. And to produce multiple versions, you could increase the batch size or increase the batch count. I think batch size is faster, batch count is a little bit slower. Now, if you wanted to, you could as well take a look at the post that the author has put here. If we click on that one, we get to a new page where the author has got more images. Again, you can look at the data there, and you can see we've got some beautiful looking images here. It's kind of wonderful what you can do in a small amount of time, and there are different styles as well. So if you wanted to, you could come here, and you'll notice with this one, probably there is some kind of model. Yeah, this is using a different model. So this one is using not the Dreamshaper model. You'd have to download a completely different model for experimenting with this one. And there are probably some stuff you'd have to download here as well for the negative prompts. But you can see here how much inspiration and information you can get using this particular web page. Now, in the Dreamshaper gallery, there was another image that really caught my eye. It was this one here, and we can actually just go ahead and copy this, maybe. And if we copy this, you'll notice here there's a term called seed. The seed is an important part of the image because Stable Diffusion uses noise as the starting point, and the seed determines what the starting point is. So if we now go here, let's go ahead and clear this. As long as the seed remains the same, we're going to have a similar image. Let's run this. Now, the image it's produced is a little bit different from the image that we saw on the website. This happens sometimes. Doesn't mean anything's going wrong. It just means that the setup we've got here is a little bit different from the setup that the author of this this image was using. There are some overrides here, so we could, for instance, go and get rid of the clip skip and see what that looks like. Now, this should go to clip skip 1, which is the default, and that will produce a different looking image. And I would say in this case, it probably doesn't look better. So we could come here, and sometimes you can actually come here and restore the settings. So we just restore it like that, and it will go back to looking the way that it looked before. One thing I really liked about this was there was a lot of interesting details in the prompt. For instance, the author has used the pipe symbol here, and what that does is that it separates these out into three edits. One, the first name is produced first, and then it's kind of overwritten by the second name, and then the third name overwrites that. So you end up with a composite image made up of 3 people. That's something I would not necessarily have thought of doing. There's another very interesting use of a term, kinetic light. I like all these bright lights that are moving very quickly. So there's a lot of inspiration you can take from the work that other people have done. And I always find going and looking at the gallery, looking at some of the images there, it's a source of inspiration. It's a source of information as well. You can find out how other people produce certain types of image. And if I'm struggling to produce a particular type of image with a model, coming here sometimes just gives the information, gives the inspiration to try something out that would possibly work. Now, that's basically how we would use this. And I think it's a very useful resource to experiment with. And it's something that I think can really accelerate your performance as you learn this software and how to use it.